Now let's go ahead and define the routes. So first we will define all the auth routes, which are like login and sign up. So in the routes folder, we will create separate route file for all the routes. So we'll say auth.ts, and inside this we will first import something from Express. And this something is router class. Now router class enables us to split the routes across multiple files and to use them. So we'll say const auth routes is equal to, we'll create the object of this class router, and then we'll say auth routes dot get, or maybe let's first define the type router, and then I guess we'll get the autocomplete. Yeah, dot get, and we will say login, and here we will provide the controller. So inside the controller, let's create a dummy controller here as well. So we will say auth.ts, and inside this we will export a function which will be export const login. It will be a controller function, so we'll provide an arrow function here, and it will take two arguments, which will be request, response, and then we will say response dot send login works. Now we have to provide the types here as well. So we will say import from Express, and we will import request and response. So we'll say request of type request and response of type response. So we have this file here, this login controller here. Now in the routes, we will pass this controller as login. So it will automatically import from here. Now in the routes file, like in the future, we will create all other files for like products, orders, and all these things. So we have to combine all these files into single. So first we will create an index file here, which will be index.ts. Now in this index file, we will combine all the routes. So again, we will do the same thing, import router from Express, and we will say const root router. So it will be a root router. And then we will say a root router of type router. And now we will say root router dot use, and for the auth, for all the auth routes, we are going to use auth routers. So we have to export this as well. So we'll say export default auth routes. So in the index.ts, we will say auth routes. So it will automatically import from ./auth. And similarly here as well, we will say export default root router. Now since everything here is configured, now we will go to the index.ts file. Now in place of this, we will say app.use. We want to use that root router on API prefix. Like you can give the root prefix as well if you don't want to use any prefix, but I like to call my APIs with this API prefix. So I will say that, and I will say root router. So that's all we have to do to configure the routers. Let's see if it's working or not. The server is still running, and if we go to /login, okay, it's saying, okay, so it's not login, it's auth/login. Okay, it's still saying auth/login not found. So let's see what the issue is. We have missed the API as well. So we will say /API/auth/login. Now you can see that login works. So the path is as follows. First the API, and then it will go to the root router. Then it will find the auth routes inside this /auth routes module. And if you go into the auth routes, you will see that we have this login route defined as a get route. So this is how the code splitting is done inside the routers. We will define all the routes here for the auths like login, sign up, and then we will create a separate file for products, orders, and cards, and then we will merge all those files into index.ts file. So this is how it's being done. So now in the next lecture, we'll define the login route. We will finish the login route. We'll see how JSON Web Tokens work, how to encrypt or decrypt the passwords. So see you in the next lecture.